Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for our June Angels Rest blessing. We are gathered here under the gazebo because today is a very windy day, so bear with us, but just so you know, the beautiful chimes will be playing in the background, and hopefully you'll hear us over the chimes. So today I wanted to kick off on a musing that I had, and a lot of the times when I talk about things, it's based on personal experience, things that are going on, within my own life that I think, if I'm feeling this way, certainly someone else is feeling this way too. And one of them is about being stuck and what makes us feel stuck. And stuck sometimes can be triggered by a memory or a song or a scent. And it brings us to a place of thinking about good memories, but it also can bring back, memories of lost loved ones. And one of the things that I think about with this stuckedness is all the layers around that, right? Like there's, you ever heard the term unpacking? Sometimes you need to just unpack those layers and look at, why do I feel somewhat of an emotional paralysis? I don't want to go for a walk. I don't want to get up and do anything. I just feel like I am sitting in the middle of all of it and I am basically stuck. And the funny thing is, we don't have to do anything. And I think that's one of the things that we get caught up in is the shoulds. I heard someone say not too long ago, don't should all over yourself. Because when you get caught up in the shoulds, then that causes you to not pay attention to your own gut. And so, yeah, if you want to go for a run or you want to go for a walk or you want to go, wash your car, try and move yourself out of this stuck mindset, do it. But also, if you want to sit still and be still in your own swamp and let yourself just decompress into those feelings, do that too. A really good friend of mine a long time ago said, we're human beings, not human doings. And I think sometimes we give ourselves a bit of guilt or grief about not constantly doing something. And if we feel stuck, we must do something to get out of it right away. You can do whatever you want. There are no wrong answers. But the most important part is to identify the fact that, hey, this has triggered me and I'm feeling a bit stuck. What's my next step? And your next step is not going to let you down. You can thrash, you can run, you can sit. But I want you to give yourself that permission to follow your heart, follow your gut, and do what's best for you. Now I'm going to give over to my good friend Josh.
Hello everybody, my name is Josh. I am the manager here at Angels Rest at the Best Friends Animal Sanctuary. And at this point of the program, we were going to go through some of the names of some of our little friends that we had lost here at the sanctuary for this month. In Dogtown, we lost Snap, Samson, Sally Jessie, Cliff, Crest, Glim, Mavis, Aquafresh, Zendium, Colgate, Mentadent, Collyros, Long Cove, Port Royale, Sea Pines, Indigo Run, Rin, Palmetto Dunes, and Chihiro. In Cat World, we lost MacGyver and McFrida. In Paragarden, we lost Bellatrix, River, Mr. Krabs, and Cheddar. And in Bunny House, We lost Ale, Theo, Ernie, and Noah. And for the tributes that were sent in, there were tributes for Harvey, Blanche, Hazel, Samson, Patricia, and Hilda. And at this point, I'd like to give over to Byron.
Hi, I'm Byron. I'm a caretaker here at Angels Rest, and I have a couple stories that were sent in I'd like to share with you. Bridie was 19 years old and very much a part of our family. He was our fuzzy cuddle machine. All he wanted every day was love, pets, treats, and a nap on our lap. We rescued him and his brother from a shelter in May of 2004. We saw them cuddling in a cage, and we just saw their faces and fell in love. Another person was visiting the pound and went to grab Bright. My wife stopped him and said, "I'm sorry, he's going home with us." He has been attached to us ever since. Even when we brought home our son from the hospital, Bright came and sniffed him and was like, "Okay, he can stay." He was such a sweetheart, and honestly, we are devastated he is no longer with us. We'd also like to honor Bridie's brother, Stitchy, who passed away last year. Molly, you were beautiful in body and soul, loved and appreciated by so many humans and other dogs during your almost 15 years. We have wonderful memories of you as a certified AKC therapy dog. Your weekly visits at school where the children read to you, pet you, and felt your calmness. The joy you brought to seniors when you visited weekly, our trips together to Best Friends Animal Sanctuary, and our adventures traveling across the country with stops along the way, including taking you to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Your silly antics, like chasing and catching bubbles in the air, pulling up and eating mouthfuls of grass with dirt and roots, and our daily routes of 2 to 3 walks playing with toys. You were sweet as you could be, and we miss your loving licks. Your spirit is with us, and we will always hold you in our hearts.
Hi everyone, I'm Jess and I work in Dogtown, and I'd like to share some stories about some of the dogs who passed away this past month. The first dog I'd like to talk about is Samson, and I'm just going to read something from his human friend, Davalin. Samson arrived at the sanctuary in February of 2020. He came from Paws Humane Society in Georgia. He was days away from being euthanized, and Best Friends accepted him. Samson came in pretty overweight for his size, and we had to put him on a diet. He was not too thrilled about that, but he did slim down over time. He forever let us know that he was a starving pup and barked incessantly for food or for you to play fetch. Two of his favorite things, food and fetch. He loved his toys and had many dog friends over the years. Samson also loved to bite at your feet, which was one of his quirky behaviors. If you moved the wrong way or tripped, he would let you know. Samson did require some slight relationship building, but once you were in with him, you got to see his fun personality and quirks. We will miss you, Samson. You may have noticed the list of dogs this month was quite large, which is a tad bit unusual. We lost a lot of puppies this past month. And I'm just going to read a little bit about those puppies from our manager, Megan. We welcomed 2 moms, Palmetto and Pepsodent, both with newborn puppies. While we suspected distemper, it was confirmed pretty soon after arrival that they were all distemper positive. These moms and pups needed a lot of extra care that included late night trips to puppies, IV fluids and meds, bottle feeding, and so much more. While we did everything we could, the puppies were very sick, and we lost 10 in the first week. Sadly, the last 2 were crossed soon after. Yesterday, when she wrote this, about a week ago, Palmetto took a turn for the worse after putting up one hell of a fight. It was a difficult decision, but we had to do right by her and helped her cross the Rainbow Bridge. She was surrounded by so much love. The last few weeks have been filled with a lot of loss and sadness. This is not the outcome we had hoped for these moms and pups. but they had a team rallying for them. They knew love during their time with us, and every day Pepsodent is getting brighter and doing really well. She's the lone survivor. We also lost our big red dog named Cliff, who I had the pleasure and privilege of taking care of in admissions way back when, about 5 years ago. I am going to read something from his caregiver, Tim, that kind of does a great job of explaining Cliff to all of you and how special he was. The team at Old Friends is heartbroken to share the news that our handsome boy Cliff crossed the Rainbow Bridge. Any loss is tough to bear, but this one hit us especially hard. Cliff was truly an exceptional dog. He came to the sanctuary from New York. I always used to call him Long Island Strong. He came from New York 5 years ago. He was having a tough time getting adopted there due to his allergies. I know Cliff still has many devoted fans in New York, and we are very sorry for your loss too. We know how much you loved him, and we thank you for sending him to us and trusting us with his care. Initially, Cliff struggled with his allergies at the sanctuary, but with a combination of a change in food, new medications, weekly medicated baths, and dedicated caregivers and volunteers, he started to improve and then to flourish. Folks who saw him after an extended period were in awe of how wonderful he looked. It was a remarkable transformation. Cliff continued to have flare-ups here and there, but overall he was looking good. Dare I say, the most handsome dog in Dogtown. To know Cliff was to love Cliff, and so many people loved him. He was always a volunteer favorite. He was a funny and goofy and quirky boy and simply adorable. He had gorgeous eyes and the most expressive face. Cliff found joy in golf cart rides and car rides. He liked his walks. Okay, he tolerated his walks, but preferred to be chauffeured around instead, and we were happy to oblige. When I say that Cliff loved his food, I mean he loved his food. Nothing made him happier. A stipulation for volunteers who walked Cliff was no food in your pockets, because he would try to get at it no matter what we did. Remember, Cliff was a big boy, so he could be intimidating when he knew there were treats to be had, but he was our gentle giant without a mean bone in his body. We will remember how Cliff gave the best sloppy kisses, sloppy being a polite term here. We will remember him being the first one to say hello to you in the morning when you entered the building, basically saying, "Is my breakfast ready yet?" But we will mostly remember him loving, kind, and friendly, and he was such a joy for everyone to meet. There will never be another dog like Cliff. Run 8 in our Homer building will be forever known as Cliff's Run. Dearest Cliff, run free over the Rainbow Bridge, and may Penny meet you on the other side with an endless pocket full of delicious treats. So thank you, Tim, for writing that. Cliff was a very special dog. One thing I remember most about him was in my time in admissions with Cliff, he always wanted to go on the golf cart. It was his favorite thing to do. And like Tim mentioned, he tolerated his walks. And we would have to do 3 times weekly baths. It eventually went down to once a week. But we had to walk him to the grooming room, which it was like a 30-second walk from where he lived. But we had to take the golf cart there to the bath, or you would just torture yourself trying to get there. He only wanted to go on the golf cart, and I would pull it up right to the front door of the grooming area, and he would get out and get his bath, get his treats, and then we would literally golf cart back to the building where he lived. So he knew what he wanted and how to get it, but he deserved it. We adored him, and he is really greatly missed. We will definitely miss him. One other dog I would like to mention was a former Dogtown dog who's been adopted. His name was Rugsy. He was adopted by one of our awesome staff members who took a chance on a somewhat crabby, somewhat unpredictable guy who knew what he wanted in life. Rugsy, I met Rugsy in admissions as well when he was healing with a knee injury. And he let us all know that he didn't want any physical therapy. He didn't need any assistance. He would take care of it on his own, apparently. But for being a little spicy, he was also really sweet. And sometimes it's the people who can see the sweet side in a spicy dog that make all the difference. And his dad, Joe, took him home and gave him a wonderful home for 3 years. And he was able to blossom in his home and really enjoy life to the fullest. So we were definitely really sad to hear about Rugsy's passing, and are thinking about his dad, Joe.
Thank you, Byron, Josh, Jess. We always look forward to those insider peeks into the lives of the animals that touch our hearts here at Best Friends. Our ultimate goal, of course, is to rescue as many animals as we can out of harm's way and help them through whatever behavioral or medical issues they may be facing, and to get them out into homes so that we can take in more. And sometimes those guys decide that they just want to stay here, and that's okay by us too. So we give them all the enrichment and all the love that we can. Of course, it's no replacement for home, but it's darn near close. And I'm just always amazed when I hear Jess tell us these stories about what lengths we will go to make sure that these guys feel absolutely at home. Because we could force an agenda. We could say, look, guy, it's only a 30-second walk, let's go. But to actually give him the joy and the excitement of his golf cart ride, no matter how short, no matter how much extra time it takes, that's the important thing. Because this guy knows that people cared and people loved him and that they were willing to do anything for him. And that's what we strive to do. And when I think about our caregivers and I think about previously talking about stuck, there's sometimes folks who've told me, and I've experienced myself, where you've had a particularly beleaguered day and you go home and you just want to stare, or you don't listen to the radio on the way home because you just need that silence. This is a beautiful place and a fabulous environment for animals. However, the people who do this work also, live with the mighty highs and the sad lows and everything in between. And sometimes when you get a little bit stuck, you just kind of figure out, okay, why am I stuck? And now we got to move on because we need to take care of so many. And I want you all to know that you need to take care of yourself as well. And take it from Cliff, right? Hold out for the golf cart ride. Yeah? So I have a beautiful poem here that's written by Mary Oliver, of course. And it's called Dogfish. And it's about a bunch of little fish who are kind of stuck. And there's some looming dogfish in the background, and what do they need to do to get themselves free? Dogfish. Some kind of relaxed and beautiful thing kept flickering in the tide. And looking around, it was black as a fisherman's boot with a white belly. And if you asked for a picture, I would have to draw a smile under perfectly round eyes and above the chin, which was rough as 1,000 sharpened nails. And you know what a smile means, don't you? I wanted the past to go away. I wanted to leave it like another country. I wanted my life to close and open like a hinge, like a wing, like a part of the song where it falls down over the rocks in an explosion of discovery. I wanted to hurry into the work of my life. I wanted to know whoever I was alive for a little while. It was evening and no longer summer. 3 small fish, I don't know what they were, huddled in the highest ripples as it came swimming in again, effortless. The whole body, one gesture, one black sleeve. It could easily fit around the bodies of these 3 small fish. And also I wanted to be able to love. And we all know how that one goes, don't we? Slowly the dogfish tore open the soft basins of water. You don't want to hear the story of my life. And anyway, I don't want to tell it. I want to listen. I want to listen to the enormous waterfalls of the sun. And anyway, it's the same old story. A few people just trying, one way or another, to survive. Mostly, I want to be kind. And nobody, of course, is kind or mean for a simple reason. And nobody gets out of it having to swim through the fires to stay in this world. And look, look, look. I think those little fish better wake up and dash themselves away from the hopeless future that is bulging towards them. And probably, if they don't waste time looking for an easier world, they can do it. Thank you all for coming out this evening and for being with us. And thank you to you folks at home. We sure appreciate you all and everything you do for the animals. Have a lovely evening.